at first, the team fucking hated me. Everyone, like, I almost got banned from the Discord. Like, they hated me, all of them.
Welcome to Altcoins with Pitches. In this episode, I talked to Camol from Sappy Seals. Talked to him about marketing in Web3, how to get a full-time job in Web3, and how to have fun with it all. This is the story of the people behind NFTs, the people behind Web3. Let's talk about like your beginnings. How'd you get started in NFTs?
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, in college, I was like, just like looking for ways to make money. Like, I was DJing on the side, and then I met a really good friend of mine. And he put me in like this sneaker group chat. We were reselling shoes, just Pokemon cards, whatever it might be, like the normal resale culture, flip things for lunch money, right? And everyone's happy. But then one day, this was during COVID, and times were really tough for everybody. And he like sent a picture of a flamingo in our group chat, and he was like, yo, I just made like $2,000 flipping this image of a flamingo. And so, of course, obviously, me and all my friends would just absolutely fucking clown him. You're a fucking idiot. There's no reason to spend $2,000 on a picture of flamingo. The only person dumber than you is the person who bought that. And that was all fine and good. We had a great laugh. But then the very next day, he sent, I think it was a Mad Dog Jones piece. And he was like, yo, like I bought this for like $1,000 and it's like selling for 25K now. I was like, all right, hold up for a second. This sounds pretty interesting because there's nothing that talks more than money, right?
Was that probably on Nifty Gateway?
Yeah, that was all on Nifty Gateway. I think the first piece was called Flamingos All the Way Down. Um, yeah, and so then I got into it. I think my first piece, I think it was called Ghosts by Mark Tedesco. I probably butchered that name, but I got that. I flipped it for some lunch money. Just kind of flipping all these random drops. I think Super Plastic dropped on there, and just a whole bunch of random ones. And then, you know, eventually he started texting about OpenSea and like NFTs on there, right? And so I was like looking into them, but I was like, why would I do that when I can just buy the NFTs with my credit card, right? And
Yeah.
just sell them on open or on Nifty Gateway. It makes so much more sense. It's so much easier, right? So then he's all hyped about two NFTs at the time. It's Bitbones, one, and the second one is this project that's called Bored Ape Yacht Club. And so, he's like, yo, like get your ETH, like I'll help you get it, whatever, you have to get these NFTs. So after he talked about it for a while, I was like, okay, I'll buy a Bitbones. So that was my first.
What floor are the Bitbones at the moment?
I think I was looking at them the other day. I think they're between point 0.1 and point 0.2. And it's kind
Okay.
of crazy because I like to like check in on it because like to me it's like a really cool project because it was like my first real ETH NFT. And like he's still pumping out deliverables. Like it's crazy. Like
Mm.
you don't see that from projects that minted that long ago, still pumping out the deliverables. Like I hate to shit on people and then like get backlash, but like Chicken Derby, do you remember that? Are they doing anything?
I do remember it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're not doing anything.
Exactly. Like you don't hear about them. So it's like always really interesting to go back and see like, hey, like this wasn't my worst decision in the world. I could have bought worse.
Do you still have the Bitbone?
I do not. I definitely bought one like 3 days ago because I was talking to him about it. I was like, I'm gonna buy one because they're still doing stuff.
Yeah.
So that's like a good homage. He still owns like 4 or 5, but I sold like the giga top of Bitbones at like 2 ETH.
Okay, so it's a great trade, just not in comparison to a Bored Ape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, if I bought a Bored Ape, let's be real, he like probably would have sold it for like point 0.8 ETH, and so that would just be like max pain. So it's almost better I bought the Bitbones.
You'd rather just miss out entirely.
I'd rather miss out entirely because, like, I mean, I've done that so many times, fumbled so bad. I bought a Doodle for like point 0.8 ETH, and I sold it for a loss at like 0.75.
That's the thing, like you can buy the project, but if you don't hold on to it, it's meaningless. Like like you said, you might as well not have bought it.
Exactly. So I mean, yeah, I'd rather miss out completely than just fumble so bad, because then like they have tools that you can track it to, and I like loathe going on those sites because it's like, oh, you fumbled $250,000. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, what
Can
is
I
it?
cuss on this?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
perfect.
Yeah, paper hands.
Yeah,
IO or
paperhands.g.
something.
Yeah, something like that. But it's like so much pain. And then like remember when on one force pumped like that first time?
Yeah, yeah. Did you have any
So
of
I
them?
had, yeah, so like my friend, same friend, I really owe him a lot, and I need to like get him something for like really changing my life. But I give him a whole bunch of shit, but like actually something nice. He actually just bought a seal, but like he was like, "Yo, like check out this on one force project. Like people are like really starting to like talk about it." So like I bought like 4 or 5, and that was like the first time I put serious money into NFTs, right? So I like blindly bought 4 or 5 odd ones, and to me that was like a lot of money. I mean, ETH was what 4K at the time or something like that, 3K, and
What were they
4 or 5.
going for?
When I got in there, like point 0.5, point 0.6. So like, I
Oh,
mean,
right. Yeah.
2K, 3K. I mean, to some people, it's not a lot of money, but like, I'm not rich. I've never been like rich. Like 3K is a lot of money. And so like,
Yeah, yeah,
I,
definitely.
I took a big financial risk for this, right? And so I bought a couple floor ones, and then I bought a rare one. And so when, as you remember, when they took off hard. People were flipping trades. It was crazy. Like
Mm.
they could not sell fast enough. And it was like the first like really like crazy NFT pump that I saw. And but like one of them, I bought like a top like 100 on one, like right before that run. And I was like, I needed a car at the time. So I bought it. I was like, I'm gonna list it for 5 ETH. I think that's like it's pretty risky to me, but I think it's gonna be worth it. I think I'm gonna get 5 ETH for it. Sold for 5 ETH overnight. I was so fucking happy. Like I couldn't sleep that night because I was like so keen on that selling. Then just curious the next day, I'm watching the chain still flipping my other on ones into rarer trades, whatever. And I see the same on one sold for like 40 ETH.
So like less than 24 hours later.
Yeah, less than 24 hours. That's my trading. I always just so close, but so far away.
So you reckon ETH was about 4K at the time. So you've,
Yeah, I'm probably completely wrong. It's probably between 3 or 4.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean 40 ETH times $4,000. I could have got a much nicer car.
But I think that's like the whole space is like you can make an excellent trade. Like you made great money and you're still very disappointed that you didn't make way more money.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, without a doubt, that happens every day, and that's why the like fumbling generational wealth thing is like such a funny thing in this space because everyone can relate to it.
Can you explain like what NFTs are?
So I was actually on, I call him Voldemort now. It's an inside joke, but I was on Alex and Third Guy's Spaces, and it was like when they were talking about like explain NFTs in 5 minutes, and it's like such a hard thing to do. But I mean, to me, it's just like I'd like to use the like digital sports card comparison. Like it's a sports card, there's value in it. Not a lot of people see value in it. Like I could be talking to just like a random friend. They're like, why would you spend $20,000 on a Michael Jordan basketball card? But to other people, there is that value because they do, one, relate to it, and two, some of these sport cards, owning it, like you get like a piece of a jersey or something like that. So it does provide that utility as well. So that's like the very vague example I use. Obviously, we could sit and talk all day about like the tokenomics behind it and all the emerging tech utility, what sets other projects apart. But I mean, it just is art in a different medium is the super basic explanation.
Yeah. No, I think it's like it's such a simple idea, but it really
Yeah,
complex to explain.
exactly.
So when you like started in Nifty Gateway, did it like make sense to you that you were technically trading on Ethereum, or it
Oh no,
just didn't make sense?
no, it didn't make sense to me. I mean, I still rarely, I still barely understand a lot of it, and I own that. Like, we have great guys over on our team that really dumb things down to me for when I'm on like calls, and it's like, yo, like they're talking about like ER 721 versus ER 721A, and I'm just like smiling and nodding, like, can you give me a quick explanation in terms I would understand?
Yeah.
And like I own it because you see a lot of people that talk a lot of big game, but they're like just so far off of like what the ground truth is. And if you admit you don't know something, like you're gonna learn about it and you're not gonna mislead people.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a strange culture with NFTs and crypto that there's an expectation that everyone knows how the technology works. When any other industry, like you can go drive your car, you don't need to know how to repair it. Like there's so many
Exactly.
things where you don't need to know everything from the bottom
Ex-
up.
exactly. And I think, kind of like cementing that in this space. Like, for example, like I know how the market in this space. I failed out of marketing school. I don't know how to market traditionally. I'd probably be horrible at it. I don't even know how to do paid ads. Like I don't know anything about targeted ads or anything. But in this very niche space, in this very niche sector of it, I know how to do it and I know how to do it well. I don't know everything about this space. I know my little silo thing. Everybody's a subject matter expert at something, but thinking someone's an expert at everything is just impossible. Like you can't be an expert at everything.
Are you sure? I see that on Twitter every day that there's
I mean, okay,
apparently.
everyone except for Bark Meta can't be an expert at everything.
I see it on my timeline all the time. Everyone's a macro professional. Everyone knows about the SEC. They're very knowledgeable.
Yes.
So with marketing, so you studied at college or
Yeah,
school?
so I did 2 years of marketing. And so, funny enough, in I guess American universities, something in marketing school to like graduate and get your degree and go further in the program is you need to pass two accounting courses. And
Hmm.
that never made any sense to me, but neither did accounting. And so we failed accounting a total of 4 times, I think.
Okay.
And that was the end of my marketing education.
And you just like quit altogether, or did you go study something
No,
else?
yeah, I then I moved on to political science for my degree is like really like specific in that field, but like it's basically political science.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, obviously had an interest in marketing to pursue it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I thought I'd be great at it. I thought I'd get a degree, work for some like ad agency, whatever, whatever. And I mean, failed out and still doing it. I don't think they teach what I do in college though. I wouldn't really know, but I'd assume they don't.
So like how'd you work it out? So your main media is Twitter. How'd you work that out? Was it just trial and error and sort of copy a little bit what other people were having success with, or?
Yeah, so coming into the space, I didn't know anything. I made a Twitter account just for it. A lot of people did their profile picture, and then I had like my personal Twitter account at the time that I've since deleted because I never fucking touched it after I got started in this space. And so, because I like wanted to keep my like two lives separate, almost like Hannah Montana. um, Yeah, but I mean, going to space, it was like a lot of just like watching people carve out their niche because like that was like when we were early. Like that's when, the influencers were really influencing, establishing their brands and really paving the way for this space and how you exist and thrive within it. And, you know, I thought there was looking at it, there were some market gaps. One was shit posters tied to projects because you had your shit posters, you had your projects, but you didn't have that correlation. And so it was a really interesting market gap. And so um, I've somehow made my way to Sappy Seals. After trading various different projects, I got into Seals and I just immediately started talking shit to the team and talking shit on the timeline, but like nothing like ever too bad. Something that's like always positive, lighthearted at the end. And they were kind of embracing something similar as well, and that kind of go to market style that no one else had we'd really seen at such a high degree. And at first, the team fucking hated me. Everyone, like I almost got banned from the Discord. Like they hated me, all of them. But I stuck around, kept talking shit. Eventually, I got made a Discord mod, and then did great moderating the Discord, making sure people weren't doing bad things and scamming people. And then marketing on Twitter still, keep in mind, I'm doing this for myself and like for the fun of it. And then eventually they're like, yo, like, do you want to be like part of like the HQ level team, like director partner level? And I was like, fuck yes, I do. Like, what do you mean?
Right. Do you have any like tips if someone's trying to follow your path, like trying to push their way into a team and into a job?
I mean, I think it's just show up every day, because even if that team's not hiring, someone else is, and someone else will see you and like realize your potential. Because like every day I have like 15 people DM me like, "Yo, like, are you looking for like more work in this space?" And my schedule's so fucking full, I can't do any more work. Like, I can barely do my work as is. But I'm like, I'll tell them no, especially if I'll respond like if I know the people, I'm like, no, but like XYZ, they're all great people and do great in this role, because I see what they're doing and I know that they would appreciate the opportunity and thrive in it.
Right. So like just building out that network and who you know is a big part of it as
Exactly.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're not gonna, unfortunately, not gonna make a name for yourself in this space unless one, you just come in with a fuck ton of money and like you can buy your way up, or two, show up every day, grind for a little bit and see how it pays off.
I'd like to explore that the idea of grinding and like work-life balance, and like what's your thoughts on that? Like, should you be throwing in 20 hours a day or whatever you can manage 7 days a week? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Ooh, yeah, this is actually something interesting, because I have a take that I guess not a lot of the space agrees with, but maybe that's just because of my unique-ish situation or view on it. So, like, this is my job, right? Like, it is a job. I hate to boil it down to that, but yes, marketing and partnerships at Sappy Seals is my job. It is what pays the bills. It's what pays my electric, whatever, right? So, with that, it's so important to have a work-life balance, because otherwise you're going to get one, burnt out, and two, have a negative relationship with what you're doing, which is the absolute last thing you want to do, is like loathe opening your laptop every day. So with that, I'll clock in 8, 9 hour, 10-hour days. Then I just shut my laptop. I don't have Twitter on my phone. I don't have Discord on my phone. If there's emergencies, my team knows how to get me, obviously. But like beyond that, I treat it like work, because it is work. I love it. It's great. I've met so many great people doing it. But having that balance is key to, staying in this space and not getting burnt out, frustrated, making reactionary moves, and living in regret after that.
Did you find that idea from someone else, or is that just like found out the hard way?
I found that out the very hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what it comes down to, and that's like why I'm like so vocal about it and vocal about taking time for yourself. Like even on the weekends, like I just schedule tweets out to keep my engagement up, because it is important in my role that I have high engagement. But I'm not like putting out 8 tweets on a Saturday. I don't even think about it.
Just on that, like, what's your thoughts with where do you draw the line, and like where's the balance of like engagement and like authenticity? Because if you're like scheduling tweets, like I definitely understand like that's a good way to stay present, but then you're not there to respond to something if like you're getting interaction with it. How do you deal with that?
Oh yeah, it's tough. I've made it like really clear in my community, at least, like that yes, these tweets are scheduled. Like I've always made like a meme out of it, and like they know it is literally just to keep my engagement up. Obviously that doesn't get to everybody though. Like it's impossible to reach everybody. But with that, you got to stay true to yourself. And like if someone's upset that they don't get a response within one business day, like that, I personally don't even want to work with them at that rate, because shit, I miss like half the DMs because my thing looks like a ticker, almost just like constantly going down.
And I guess it doesn't help that Twitter's just dog shit for searching things.
Oh my god, it's so bad. But like if you really like want to get in touch with me, I I appreciate it so much, like when people will like follow up with me if I miss something or like have that understanding, because it goes both ways. I assume that if they're in a similar position, they'd appreciate it as well, and like understanding like you can't be there 24/7, and trying to is sure, like you can certainly try and you can do it great for a month or two, but you're gonna get burnt out eventually.
Yeah. Is there any way, if someone's trying to get hold of you, like is a good way to go about?
I think email is probably the best way. I've been very clear about what my email is. It's camol@thepixlverse.com. So if you're listening to this and you want to get in touch with me, camol@thepixlverse.com. I check my email. I will get back to you, and it is truly the best way of getting in contact with me.
Just general like marketing tips, like how does someone go about improving their skill set on Twitter?
I think so. I think the best marketing, it's changed. It's really changed recently. The marketing meta has changed. It changes every day. At first, when I was first starting, it was like go in Discord, show your tweets, and then you get your following that way. Now it's reply guys. So reply guys, they build their following that way. I think that's how Alexander built up his following, was reply guying people. Eventually people are like, yo, this guy's kind of fucking funny. Same thing with Bark. I hate to use them examples, but they're like the two that have really popped off recently. They started as reply guys. Now they're two, I guess they're thought leaders in the space, even though I don't agree with a lot of them.
What is a reply guy?
Yeah, so a reply guy, for those who don't know, is someone that finds like the top people in the space, Wob, Thread Guy, Menace, et cetera, almost like pulling the NFT Inspect rankings and then literally replying to every single tweet they make and trying to make an impression off of it, trying to get that follow from them, trying to build a rapport with them so that way they interact organically with you and you slowly start to get their following you as well. And if you do that with enough people in enough different communities, you will have incredible engagement and incredible opportunities in this space.
Um, what would your tips be for someone like starting fresh in NFTs in general? Let's say they're not trying to market, they're just trying to understand the culture of it. Like, where do you start?
Can I say buy a Sappy seal?
Well,
I
how much money they got to have to get into the seals?
I think it's $1,000 right now.
Yeah. Is there a cheaper
Uh,
alternative?
Plague. Plague is your best bet, honestly. They
Yeah.
have crazy engagement. The team there, Pons, he's a great guy. The community is great. They've fostered such a great culture. They have real tangible deliverables on the pipeline that are for the better of this space. And what's great about Plague is, one, obviously the low barrier to entry, and two, they're so great about onboarding people and like answering questions. And we do have community that does intersect. Like there's a lot of overlap. A lot of people that hold seals hold Plague, vice versa, and more than that, we just love to interact with each other. But it's not like if you have a question, you're not going to be treated like you're stupid or ignored. Like you will get a thoughtful response, and better than that, they'll connect you with people who can tell you more about it.
Any favorite follows in the space?
There's a lot of really great people in this space. D Train 22. He's a great one. He's really funny. I like the dry humor because I do spend a lot of time just doom scrolling the timeline as a part of my job, and so it's always nice to like have something refreshing. D Train's a great one. Angel Clark Squared, I think her at is AC Squared. Another great person, hilarious on the timeline. Storm Riccati, another, he's a seal guy, great. But just like anyone that you like really see me interacting with day to day, like that's my inner circle. And like I choose that inner circle because they're all great people. They all, are just like people I get on with and like make this space a better place for me.
Sappy Seals had an event in New York. Was that a few months ago now? Do you find like your like closer friends in the space, are they people that you met there as well, or are they mostly like digital friends?
Yeah, so I actually organized that event, and coming up to it, I got connected with our venue and our promoter through Uncle Joe. I think his ad's Unc Joe 22. And so obviously with that, I had to go to New York to scope out the venue, right? Obviously had to do that.
Had to, yeah,
And
of
so
course.
yeah. So I flew up there and that guy treated me like royalty. Nicest motherfucker I've ever met. Like he was like, yo, like, do you want a car from the airport? Like that's the kind of guy he is, right? And he's just such a fucking nice guy, and like so many people are like that too. Like everyone's so thoughtful about like what they can do to like be nice and not be shitty people. And like, you know, all these people, like you don't even know what half the motherfuckers look like, but you meet them somewhere, whether it be Miami, New York, London, whatever, it's like you're meeting an old friend.
Yeah.
Because like, I think I'm about to probably give a wrong statistic, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere people on NFT Twitter spend like 4 hours a day just doom scrolling, right? So like these people, like whether you like it or not, like you do know them, you know about them, you know their ins and outs, when they're having good days, when they're having bad days, what they like, what they don't like, who they fuck with, who they don't fuck with. So, in my eyes, when you meet that person and you're friends with them on NFT Twitter, you're gonna be friends with them at the event. You're gonna have a great time. It's like almost like a high school reunion.
Do you think it's important that we onboard more people, or is that just going to happen naturally?
I think it's a combination of both. Every day onboarding new people into the space is great because you get retail money, right? And retail money is great because that's how you get your like grassroots organic holders, people that are really interested in the space and aren't completely driven by money. I mean, when it comes down to it, is I'd say 99.9% of people are somewhat driven by money. I mean, we talked about how I was driven by money coming into this space and it's my job. Therefore, technically, I guess I'm still driven by money, right? And I'd say you're probably driven by money as well. Like have everyone's driven by money when you boil it down to it. Money makes the world go around. But what's really going to move the market is when someone like Elon, unfortunately, Jeff Bezos, real big dog, starts getting into NFTs to bring that next wave of retail investors. A lot of them going to just be in it for money. Nothing wrong with that in my eyes. Like the market needs buyers and sellers to achieve equilibrium. And then, a lot of people will also stick around and make it their niche. And that's going to be great too. And it's just going to be wave after wave after wave of that.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's always got to be some catalyst that brings people in. I found it interesting though that like during the bull, the narrative was like it's anti-environmental, and then ETH goes proof of stake, so there should be no environmental concerns, and no one's even talking about it. So it's like the narratives don't really matter. It's kind of weird. It's the right place at the right time. People either come on or they don't.
Yeah, exactly. Like if people don't want to learn about it, they're not going to learn about it, and we can't force them to.
How would you describe like what the Sappy Seals is?
It's so hard, and every time people ask me this, because like my job is partnerships as well. Like, so I have to give this answer like 30 times a day, and every single time I give a slightly different answer. But you almost boil what I love to boil it down to is it's your Web3 home, because we're going to go back to the statistic that we talked about a bit ago that I'm not 100% sure is accurate or not. But people are spending 4 hours a day on Twitter. Would you rather spend 4 hours a day on Twitter with people you like and are nice and have a great community and like genuinely enjoy talking to you and gassing you up? Or would you rather spend 4 hours a day with people that are just grumpy, grouchy, don't really care about community, don't really care about the group of people they're associated with? And boiling it down to that such simple concept, if you really think about it, and that's a strong value to use, it's a no-brainer in my eye. And I mean that's a strong value to me because short-term floor price and pumps are great. Like it'd be fantastic if we had 100 ETH floor, don't get me wrong, but at the same time we don't really care too much about short-term floor because we would rather dedicate our resources to one, fostering that culture, and two, building out our long-term deliverables we know will provide value in the long term to our supporters.
So what is the long term goal for Sappy Seals?
It's really high level because unfortunately, I assume the viewers of this are not under NDAs. So what I can say is that working to create a Web3 company that's not rooted in Web3 through various activations with Web2 companies, Web3 companies in meaningful ways. You have a black Bored Ape hoodie behind you, right? That's that's great. We love Bored Ape Yacht Club. They're such a great project, but we want to do things a bit more meaningful, and like whether that be working with a solar power company to achieve some sort of deliverable there that provides value to everybody, onboards people into Web3, does something great for the environment. I don't even know how that would look, but we are willing to do it because it's meaningful and it's helpful.
Yeah, okay. So like partnerships, but not just for the sake of partnerships, something that's
E- Exactly. Something that provides real value, not something that provides short-term pumps. Because, I mean, shit, we could partner with any number of people to have a short-term pump or do any number of things. And we know how to do them, but we're not going to because it's not ethical and it doesn't fit our ethos.
you were mentioning like Web3, Web2, all this. Can you describe what that means to you?
I mean, yeah. What I thought you were gonna ask me to define them. I was like, I don't fucking know.
Well,
But I mean, what
I
it,
feel like they're quite made up anyway. So I think it's more like, what does it mean to you more than
yeah.
its
I
true
mean,
definition?
Yeah, I mean, what it means to me is Web3 to me is blockchain technology, emerging technology on the blockchain. It's really that simple. And then Web2 to me, I talk about Web2 companies. I'm mainly talking about like Fortune 500s, already established brands that are looking to break into this space or aren't looking to break into this space. Because that's the great thing, is a lot aren't. But if you approach them, and then we relate back to what we were talking about with the Web3 company that's not rooted in Web3, and we can approach them with a tangible thing that we want to do that they can sign off on, that's not entirely just a random collaborative NFT drop, but something that furthers their brand goals as well, they'll be keen on it because it's not Web2 versus Web3. It's not just about the NFTs. It's about what we can do together to help everyone.
We must have started around a similar time in NFTs, and it seemed like even after Bored Apes dropped, I remember like everyone talking about as if it was there was too many profile picture projects already, and since then there's like 100 released every week, but still plenty of them gain traction. There's ones like say Ranga that came out recently. It's doing well. It goes up, it goes down, whatever. But like they're still doing well even now. Why do you think they're so appealing, like PFP projects?
I think so. Do you remember when the Board Ape pitch deck dropped? Or like it leaked? Did you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so one of the key components in their deck, which I don't entirely agree with, is that your PFP does not feel like your Web3 persona. They said that it's in their deck, and then they also used a picture of a Sappy seal on that page. So I'm definitely not bitter that they did that.
It's free marketing, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I still use it. I still reference it. But with that, Web3 is this whole new world where you can really shape whatever you want to be. The preconceived notions, everything you did is behind you because no one knows who the fuck you are. No matter like if you have a blue check and you have 20,000 followers, you might be a pro athlete or an actor or whatever. Guess what? Half the fuckers still don't know you and just want you to be their exit liquidity. The other half fuckers might think you're cool. So I guess that's 100%. But like what comes down to, there's no preconceived notions because this is still such an emerging space and you really haven't made your footprint on it yet. And so, coming into this, you can be the hero of this space, you can be the villain of this space, but it's up to you. And that's why the PFPs are such an integral part of this because that's your brand. Your PFP is your brand. Like I had a $200,000 offer on my seal. I turned it down because I think my personal brand is worth way more than $200,000. Maybe it was stupid of me to turn down 200K. I don't fucking think it was. I think my brand's fucking worth millions and millions of dollars. But like, if I sold that seal, would I have any trust by people in this space?
It's a good question. I think you would. I think you've built up enough recognition. The question is, did you engagement farm the offer?
It was a private offer, unfortunately.
Missed
So
opportunity.
I know. It
Um,
sucks.
it's going back a little while, but what was his name? Richard, with the punk that had the offer of like millions and millions of dollars above floor or something. Do you think that
Yeah.
was like an engagement tactic, or do you think that may have been real?
I think it's the same ethos because I mean, look at it now. Do you know Puff Yaddy?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, Puff just sold their ape. No idea what to do with the brand. I don't think Puff's changed their PFP yet because your PFP is tied to your Web3 persona, and your Web3 persona is your brand and what delivers value to you in this space. When, especially, when you have that bigger following, like it's so hard. I've talked to, people with 50K, 100K followers that are like, should I sell my PFP? Like it's worth like 50K right now. Like, what do I do? And the thing I always tell them is, what is your personal brand worth? It unfortunately your PFP is attached to that.
So what's the play? Like you should really, do you think you should, if you've got the money, buy into a popular project, or do you go like a medium to low level floor price project and just make it your own? Like
Well,
what's the easier
it
way?
depends on your intention in the space. That's what I really think it comes down to. Because if you buy a mutant and you have a fuck ton of money and you can reply guy, you're gonna get 50K followers overnight. Super easy. Then you launch a project, you make a fuck ton of money and you dip. If that's your intention, you want to do that, go for it. Congratulations to you. But if you want to make a long-term impact on this space and you want to grow organically, start small, conquer smaller projects, move up. If you want to change your PFP at 5K followers or whatever, do a big upgrade, market it, build hype around it. Maybe you flip your way from a plague to a sappy seal. You change the PFP to a sappy seal. You still already have all of your plague followers. You still engage with them. You still love the community and they still love you. But now you're part of another great community. You do that for a while. And as you continue to grow in this space, if you want to stick with your seal PFP or your plague PFP, go for it. As you grow in the space, you can still always come back to that. But as you continue to build up, there's going to be more options unlocked. And then that's always the dilemma of where do I change my PFP and is it worth it?
Do you think there's like a ceiling on that? Like, say, not to shit on the seals, but like it'll have great reach for a certain while, and then it won't have that next level of maybe, I don't know, what's the next one, like a CryptoPunk or a Bored Ape or something. Would it be worth scaling, or by that point you become so associated with the seal or whatever it was before that it's not worth
I
it?
think, if you do it right, it doesn't matter what your PFP is, because if you pull up the NFT inspector ratings, like you can search Sappy Seals and we're hanging up there with all of them. I see like I think it's usually like 10 seals are always in the top 100. And guess what? We don't have the same floor as Mutant. We don't have the same floor as Azuki. We don't have the same floor as CryptoPunks. But our motherfuckers have established their brand and they know how to do it well, and we've laid the foundations for them to do it.
You've mentioned it a few times. What the hell is NFT Inspect?
Yeah, so NFT Inspect is this tool that I think, it really has two uses. One is collection rankings. I have it pulled up right in front of me. Collection rankings by community singles. So I guess it's just floor price and activity. But the other one is profiles. And I mean, I think it's really cool because it like shows you like people going up and down the rankings in real time of based on engagement, followers, tweets, what have you. I don't even think I'm in the top 100 right now, unfortunately. I go in and out of it. I can search.
Do you think like it's accurate? It does seem to be realistic.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's accurate and realistic. I mean, the toolings that do it, and then you go on the timeline, like, yeah, Alexander is taking over the timeline, and yeah, Minister's really high up there, and then yeah, Wob is also all over the timeline as well. Like those are the names you see all the time.
Yeah. I guess what's the point of doing any of this? Like, what does it matter if you're number one, number two? Like, what's the benefit to that?
For us, it's quantifiable metrics. It's proof of concept because we're being directly compared to CryptoPunks. We're being directly compared to mutants. We're being directly compared to apes, and we're rolling with the big dogs. So that is what it means to us. To Alexander, might mean something else. To Farouk, it might mean something else. But to us, we have metrics that we can use to further our mission.
So I guess like if it's your project brand, it's spreading its awareness pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It's like metrics to see how well our engagement baiting does and how well our marketing does and how well, the native influencers of Sappy Seals are doing, because every single fucker that has a Seal PFP is free marketing for us. Like, and if they're higher up on the list and they have more reach, guess what? That's better for us. Alan Carroll, funniest motherfucker I've ever met. Seal PFP, motherfucker goes viral like 3 times a week. Every single time he goes viral, we see an uptick in seal sales.
Okay, so like you can see a direct relation
Yeah,
to
we
from
can
that.
correlate it.
Yeah,
We
well.
can correlate it.
You're notorious on the timeline for engagement baiting other collections, big collections. Probably started with like Bored Apes or something. Is it something you've seen someone else doing and sort of pinched the idea, or did you just do it naturally
I
and
think,
saw it was getting effect?
yeah, I just kind of like did it naturally at first. I think I took it a bit too seriously, and I took myself a bit too seriously, and I think I definitely like hurt some people's feelings, and like I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. I was an asshole. I admit it. But like now it's like all in good fun, and I've carved out my brand, and like I try not to be. I don't try not to be too mean about it unless you're a Zuki, and then I think you deserve all of it. But like it's all just like in good fun. I think other people might take it a little too seriously, but I mean, at this point, it's my brand. If I switch up, then that's going to be real tough for me and my engagement, because that's what people know me for. I carved out my niche, like it or not. That's who I am in this space.
Do you think it's like part and parcel with trying to get engagement is sometimes it's got to veer into the like negative?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, think about it like this. The other day, I put up a tweet about apes. I don't remember what it was, but I did it purposefully to get ape attention. And unfortunately, tweeting Bored Ape Yacht Club is the best NFT. They've done so much for the space. Does not nearly get as much engagement as shitting on Bored Apes for the other deedmate. It just doesn't, because you don't get two sides arguing about it and more people drawn to it because it's rage bait, right? And like it's all in good fun. Like it's a fact that like 3.5 ETH. I don't say like Yuga scammed us out of 3.5 ETH or whatever. Well, I might have said that at one point, but like it's not that deep. I'm not serious about it. But then the next tweet about it is like comparing Bored Apes to seals, and then the Bored Apes, they're on my timeline. And then if one of them buys a seal, it's a successful play. And then they're onboarded. Then they learn more about the community. Then they realize it's a bit deeper than the memes and a bit different than the shit posts. And that's what makes them stay. First, it's like fishing. You hook the fish, you pull up to lock it in.
Are you ever worried about like turning people away that don't get the joke?
Oh yeah, no, that happened. I've never actually publicly said this. So one time I shit on the apes. I don't remember what it was about. It was probably about other deeds. Like that's my go-to thing when I'm bored, or just like making fun of Machi or something. But then I was in the process of securing a deal with a Web3 native company that provides some, I don't want to shit on them because they were really nice about it, some sort of thing that like you can license your NFT or ape to, and like you like eat it basically or you drink it. um and so like it was all going great, like we had scoping calls or whatever, everything was going great, and then they're like, yeah, we don't fuck with you anymore. I was like, okay, well, it doesn't, if you don't fuck with it, like I get it, I respect it, but it's clear our ethos aren't going to align.
Right. So it's, although you might be cutting someone off, it's sort of filtering people that you want in
Yeah,
your community anyway.
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, it sucks that the opportunity missed out. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, we're not going to change everything about the community and like everything that drew so many people in and like onboarded a lot of people and has been majorly successful, like it or not, because someone didn't like it and didn't get it. Like that's the whole point. If we just tweeted "you guys great," we wouldn't be anywhere, like it or not.
Yeah, it's probably more of a reflection on everyone else than on you guys.
Exactly.
um, uh, you may have mentioned a few names along the way that bring this topic up. How do you define a rug, and what is a rug?
Well, there's two types. There's the slow rug, and then there's the raw dog hardcore rug. And so, raw dog hardcore rug, project mints out, founder dies. I don't buy that for a second. That's a fucking hard rug. But project mints out, they falsely advertise what they're going to be doing, misleading marketing. Maybe like they draw people in by saying that the founder is a woman and like toting that, parading it, and then you mint out and you do nothing with the collection, radio silence from the team. I believe one blue chip project founder did that in the past. I'm not going to say any names, of course, because I'm not a controversial person, but it rhymes with Azuki. um, then then there's the slow rug, and that can be for two reasons. The first reason is they're malicious and they want to get royalty money and keep the con going for as long as possible. Then the second reason, and something that's not talked about enough, is the project runs out of money. No one understands that because you have your mint, right? You raise what, like $1 to $3 million in a mint usually. I mean, Pixlverse raised 70, but most projects 1 to 3 million off the mint. Then you get your royalty revenue. Teams, they're expensive, especially if you're actually building out a project. Like you have to pay salaries for multiple people. Good people usually cost more money. Then you might have to buy like access to certain softwares or whatnot. All of that money adds up. If you can't continue the money coming in, your project's going to die. And unfortunately, you will have to rug because there's no other way to sustain the project because you're out of money.
What's the difference then just between like a bad business and a rug then?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think if people are transparent about it, then like it happens. Businesses fail. Like, unfortunately, is a whole thing. Like, how many startups fail? Almost all of them. Almost every single fucking startup has failed. Entrepreneurs, a lot of them have fucking failed before they found the one that hit. But if you came in with good intentions and like maybe you weren't the most business savvy person, maybe you weren't great at a certain deliverable and caused the project to die out, at least you tried, and like at least you tried to accomplish your goals. But if you come in and you just completely mislead everyone, like uh, this is not legal advice and I'm not a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. But I think Winter Bears may have misled everyone and not had any tangible goals. That to me seemed like a slow rug with malicious intentions.
Yeah, so I think like if from again what you're saying, if you run out of money, you mismanage it. It's just about transparency, like nearly owning
Yeah,
up to that you ran a bad
yeah,
business.
yeah. I mean, it sucks, but like it happens. Not every project can stay around for forever. Not every project's going to be success.
Um, just on that, do you think someone like coming in with lots of money to spend, are you better off like bringing a like dead project that was popular at one stage back to life, or start a new mint? Like, because it's seen a lot of success with something like Pudgy Penguins, where it's brought over new direction and it does quite well.
Yeah, I think, if you have a lot of money, and then the second part is you're good at running a business because you're taking the lot of upfront costs, then I think that it's going to be a very successful thing that I think we're going to see very soon. I mean, I've talked to people about that very specific thing. I've had a lot of really interesting conversations about how that would look in this space. And the pros there is you already have holders and you already have a community. You don't need to draw people in. But the drawback is you're dropping fuck ton of money to get the rights to the project usually. Like I don't remember how much Luca acquired Pudgy Penguins for, but he didn't, market Pudgy Penguins and then have a $2 million war chest. He put cash down first, and then he's relying on other revenue streams to keep the project going. So it's a bigger risk off the start. but then on the flip side, it's easier to have your community. So it's a real tough decision. I wouldn't be able to make it.
It seems like it favors like an operator over a marketer, because like if you're good at
Exactly.
marketing, build some hype, you can just start from fresh and you've got no baggage. You get the money from the mint,
Yeah,
even
exactly.
though it's not as much now.
Yeah. I mean, like Luca, for example, he came into Pudgy Penguins. He's just been pumping out deliverables, and it's been really good for them. I mean, it's been great. Like we've seen the floor pump like 4 or 5 times. There was that, what was it, 400 ETH sale
Yeah,
in the bear market.
yeah,
Like
it was
Luca's been
insane.
doing great with the branding there. It's been incredible to watch from the sidelines and work with their team to some extent.
Yeah. Let's go a bit of a hot take. What's your, no, not from me, from you maybe, is like, what is like your controversial take about NFTs that no one else is
Mutants
thinking?
aren't real apes. Oh, wait, that no one else is thinking. Well, I
Oh,
guess I've made
maybe
people.
so. Doesn't have to be unique, but
Yeah, I feel like I've made people think mutants aren't real apes, but they're not. I mean, it's statistically proven. Yuga doesn't treat them as real apes. They're completely separate productions. I mean, but the real hot take is your blue chip NFTs of today are not going to be your blue chip NFTs from a year from now. And anyone that just throws a bunch of money into blue chips will end up losing a significant amount of it. I mean, shit. Look at On One Force. Look at Mechaverse. Look at Invisible Friends. Look at Creature World. Look at Cool Cats. I mean, Cool Cats isn't a rug, but you threw ETH at it when it was 20 ETH. What are they now? 2?
yeah, 2.5, 3, something like that.
Yeah. Your
Okay.
blue chip NFTs do not have staying power. Do not get the two mixed up.
What is a blue chip NFT then?
That's so hard to define, but I guess in layman's terms, or the way people look at it, it's high floor price. Unfortunately, that's all that people care about. That's, like I said, that's why people can come in, throw a bunch of money at it, and establish themselves in the space. It's because people view projects with high floor prices in a higher regard than projects without them. But me not being able to afford a fucking ape, one, and two, being in this space for a while, if someone comes into this space, learns about it, and buys a seal, and they have money for an ape, I have immense respect for that person, because that means they took time to learn and took time to form new opinions.
Yeah, they're not just going the easy option.
Exactly. Is that a seal hat behind you?
Yeah, man.
I love it.
A bit of product placement fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So Savvy Seals question is, when is your merch coming back?
Oh yeah, so we've been doing a lot of testing. First it was going to be like 2 weeks, but then a big thing was we hated the quality of our provider. So we worked with a new provider. We got a few things in, hated the quality of it. And as we scale this brand, we want to have high quality merchandise. So then it was back to the drawing board. And then right around that same time, we're doing the art rebrand too. So it makes more sense to do the art rebrand, establish the branding of that at the same time as we roll this out. So then we make new art for the merch. We have it all ready. Get the merch to test it. Don't love it again. Don't love the quality. So it's back to the drawing board, finding a new provider, getting it all set up. And so I have a few friends that work in the merch industry to some degree. And so what we get, I'm getting a package in a couple days with what should be the final merch. And then from there, because we already have the hats and stuff sorted, we already have capsules sorted, we have everything sorted, we have the new website sorted. It's just making sure the shit will not get destroyed in the washing machine.
Yeah, I bought a t-shirt and I bought my missus a t-shirt and hers is like falling apart.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, but that's not going to happen anymore. Don't worry. I
Yeah.
promise you.
It was a cool idea. I've heard you talk about it before, that you can't do high quality and put your own seal on the merch. But I thought that was a really cool thing to do in the early days, that you could put your own PFP on your merch. Like, I know you can organize that yourself through just like, any t-shirt or, hoodie maker, but you've got to go through the effort. Yours was a one-stop shop. So
Yeah,
is there,
exactly. And I mean, that's something that we always consider, and we have cool ideas about it. Something that we've learned is that when we do it again, because we're gonna do it again, like we understand that you want custom merch of your NFT, you're dropping a fucking $1,000 on a sealed JPEG. The least we can do is be able to put it on a shirt, right?
yeah.
So the trick is gotta make the graphics smaller on those ones though, because that's when we have the problems, and that's why even with your Bored Ape merch, you'll see cracking because they're too big. If you don't print them right and you wash them wrong, they'll get fucked up.
When we're talking about branding for like individual, like, keeping consistent your PFP, what's the thoughts with the rebrand of the seals? Like, is there any, concern that sort of dilutes the brand because there's two different images?
I disagree because from the partnership side of things, see things a bit differently. Because I'm working with, I can't say what brands I'm actually working with. Like, let's say, for example, I'm working with Monster Energy. I'm not working with Monster Energy, but they work for this example. They're a little bit more edgy. They fit the old vibe of the seals better, right? But then, like, let's say on the other hand, I'm working with, I don't know, Babies R Us. Guess what? The cute seal is going to work better. The goal is to provide as many opportunities for holders as possible through these brand deals and grow and scale the art with the space. So having those two different options has already vastly increased the opportunities, and I'm seeing it so much on my end as well because I'm able to work with and create visions for brands across the board. I'm not limited by the edginess of the seal or the cuteness of the seal. And because guess what, if the space like turns like just completely anime, we'll probably do fucking anime seals too, because we understand the importance of scaling the art, or otherwise you're going to get left in the dust.
No, that makes sense. I hadn't heard it explained like that. I thought it was more you were changing completely to the new look, not embracing the differences. What's the sort of like brand like direction for seals? Is it trying to be, if you had to give it like a movie rating, is it like a MA brand? Is it like you're trying to blur into like PG or even G stuff, or what's?
I think it's PG-13,
Yeah.
but like the new PG-13, not the old PG-13. Like trying to, like I was on a call with, I can't say who, but a concern they had was like the way some of their office view seals is like kind of adult edgy, and it's like, why would that work with our more child friendly brand? you know and so coming into the meeting, I kind of explained like, here's where this edginess actually comes from. It's from a place where people feel safe doing this, first of all, because like you don't see me tweeting like my dick is so long or whatever, some just real fucking off the rails, right? But like people feel safe in our community doing that. And so like obviously you're gonna have that. If it like reaches a certain threshold, like I'll step in and like reel it back a little bit, because like it could be detrimental to the brand when it goes a little too far. But being able to just foster that space where people are free and safe to do what they want.
Yeah, it seems like with the decentralization, it's a bit of a meme half the time, but it nearly seems like your brand is that, like people are driving it how they see the brand, and you kind of, although you might have the rights to the name and the images and that, you kind of don't have full control of what your brand looks like.
Exactly.
Are you just trying to like guide it kind of where you want it to go, or do you just sort of let it go a little bit?
Yeah, so I think we could we could go for fucking hours now because I'm about to say some trigger words. Community council. um, but I think with that, I think a lot of projects use the community council because they're separated from the community. They don't have like their thumb on the pulse of it. Whereas we know our community. We interact with them every day. It's so important to us. We don't need a community council because the entire community is the council. We hear everyone's voice, we see everyone's voice, we make sure their voice is heard. If they have concerns or want to hop on a call with us, we'll fucking hear their concerns. We'll hop on a call with them. If the idea sucks, whatever, we heard it out. If the idea is great, amazing, we'll take it in. Like, and that's why I forgot the question. Oh wait, yeah. That's why, the community is shaped the way it is because everyone can have their hands on it. You don't have to
A-
fit in.
And you're taking like an active participation in it as well. You're not just hands off.
Exactly. Exactly. Like obviously I'd love to steer it, and like I try my best to steer it when I need to, but like it's pretty like, oh, what's the fucking word? I forgot the word. Autonomous. It's an autonomous community. Like if I were to die today and Wob was to die today and like we're the two marketers, the community would still be there. The community would stay the same, still be there.
Are you intending to do that?
I don't think so. I hope not.
um, before you got like started, whether that's like in your current role or just NFTs in general, like what do you wish like you knew about the space?
I was going to lose a fuck ton of money and to put money back for taxes.
Do you think that's just like part of the journey though? You've got to lose stuff in it, like to
Yeah,
learn
no,
learn
I mean,
lessons.
it happens. Exactly. Like, the best lessons are learned via failure. Well, not always the best lessons, but a lot of good lessons are learned via failing or trial by fire. And like, you can read like, hey, put money back for taxes. Like, it's a really good idea. And then like everyone says it. And then like, you make your first big sale and like, it's like, I'll make some more money. I'll put back the proper amount next time. Then next time comes around and you don't. And then it's tax season and you owe the government a fuck ton of money. You're like, how the fuck? I've never even had this much money before.
Yeah, I feel that. I just recently paid my tax bill.
Yikes. I'm
It's
sorry.
not fun. But it's, if you're paying tax means you made some money, so you can't
Yeah,
complain.
exactly.
But
Exactly.
it's definitely something. It's the non-glamorous side of making money. It's
Yeah.
the administration part. Um, definitely a hot topic at the moment, and it's probably been done to death. But would love like your thoughts on royalties and like how does that get fixed moving forward? Because it seems like a huge part of the best part of NFTs, and now that marketplaces are changing that and going to 0% or optional royalties, it seems like it might be disappearing.
I mean, everyone has their opinion, and there are options to get around royalties. But, to me, I work for a project. One of our revenue streams is royalties. Like, please support us. If you're buying our NFTs, you very likely support us already, unless you're trading for a quick pump and dump, whatever. Like I understand that too, and I understand wanting to save a bit of money. But if you care about the project and you're in it for the long term, paying the royalty fees is what keeps the project going. 2 years after mint, 3 years after mint. Like, yeah, there's other revenue streams, and we talk about it every day, but like this is one of them. It's a very major one.
Do you think there's any way to, I don't know, fix it moving forward, or is it just got to be education for your holders?
I think it's got to be education. That's what it comes down to because it is a hot topic, and talking about it gives you engagement. And people with that engagement love to platform it and really beat their ideas to death because that's what happens. And when they do this, people are going to be influenced by them. And so, like educating people on the benefits of royalties and what that means for the projects you support, I think is important.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, shit, it'd be so much better if I could sell someone a seal for $50 and like we still maintain our money and people still save their money and everyone's happy. Do you know how much easier my life would be if that was a real world? But unfortunately, it's not. Like, this is the world we live in. This is how it's shaped. This is how businesses were formed a year ago. That was what's then. This is what's now. Obviously, we got to adjust. Obviously, looking forward, we think about how we could get around these things. And I mean, one way we did it was the pseudo swap pools already. Like, using pseudo swap, people can create their own tools to like basically compete with OpenSea or whatnot. Team bought like 50 seals off of OpenSea, created our own pool. And so on a pseudo swap, there is a fee that goes to the pool holder. That's not a royalty fee to OpenSea. That's just like the small little cut that you get off of any website. And that just goes straight to us. It don't go to anyone else.
If a project was like launching today, do you think, like, how should they approach it? Should it be holding back supply? Is it just rolling the dice on that royalties will come back in some way, or what's your thoughts?
I think the best way to launch a project today is be very outspoken about just whatever fucking issue that you want to be outspoken about. It doesn't even matter. Just have something that gets a lot of hot opinions on both sides. That is how you can become successful right now. That's what we've seen a lot of times recently. It doesn't even fucking matter. And unfortunately, I am like so jaded about that because I've seen it all the time. Like we see it every day. Like founders come in, they have a hot take on something, they get a fuck ton of followers, they get their little cult, they emit, and then they disappear. It works. If you want to make money, do it. If you care about people and their money, don't do it.
Yeah. On a bit of a lighter note, what's your favorite NFT that you own?
Sappy seals.
Not Sappy Seals.
Oh, damn. That's a bit harder. I'm a big fan of Jenkins. Thread guy's a great guy. I have the utmost faith in them and what they're doing. I've talked with them plenty of times. They're all great guys. Big fan of the Plague as well, what they're doing. Gaming Games. I mean, there's so many great projects and great teams I support. Shit, I still like Bitbones because they're still here, still building. But it's so hard for me to just pick one. If I was gonna go, maybe something I didn't own. That's a real good question. Something that I think is a bit more interesting and something to cover. And NFTs I don't own. Who would I buy? I don't fucking know because I just buy them. No, I'd buy a doodle. I'd totally buy a doodle. I think the community over there is crazy. I mean, say what you want about the team, whatever is going on over there, like 50 days without an announcement. It doesn't really matter to me because what drives the value right now for projects is community. And they have a great community full of creators, full of great people, and they've fostered that. And that's, our whole niche in the space is community as well.
What's your thoughts on like the word community? Is that like just a meme or is it real?
Uh, uh, some people misuse it and meme it, but I mean, just like every situation is different. Like if you're gonna come into this space, mint a project and say you're a community-run project and not listen to your community, or you create a community council and still don't listen to them, like then yes, it's a meme. But if you're a project that like actually, like oh fuck, I had a metaphor and I lost it. But if you're like a community that or you're a project that like is part of your community, like I feel like I'm part of the seals community, like that's completely different. That is a true community project. A true community-based project is a project where the community can impact the future of the project.
Awesome. I guess just finishing up is what are your hope for the future of NFTs? Like, what do you want to see in the future?
That is a great question. That's something I don't really think about too much because it's so hard to predict and like it's so hard to shape. I mean, in my perfect future, you know, Web 2 would merge with Web 3. I hate saying that, but like no one does it in meaningful ways. And like that's what we were talking about before was meaningful activations because I think looking a bit deeper than the animal JPEGs on the blockchain. Like we saw, I think it was like 6 months ago or so, like RFID NFTs, like using that to track on the blockchain, things like that, and embracing this technology in ways that can apply to everyday business and everyday life and make it a bit better. I mean, shit, you can even do it with food, like making sure that the food has been like tested or something. I don't know how that would look. It's just a idea that popped in my head. I'm sure it could be applied. I'm sure it would be great, you know, a way to verify that your food passed the health safety.
Just finish up. Thanks for your time, man. Really
Yeah, of
appreciate
course.
all your answers, and I hope people got a lot of value from this.
Yeah, 100%. I appreciate you having me.
Thanks for watching this episode of Altcoins with Pitches. That was Camel from Sappy Seals. Please give him a follow on Twitter where he hangs out the most. It's at Camol NFT. That's spelled Camol NFT. Thanks for joining. We'll see you out there somewhere in Web3. Cheers.